Welcome to the Bluestocking Circle podcast, Lady Nerds on Popular Culture. We're your hosts, Gricel,
Ashley, and Bee.
This is Minisode 19.5, Feedback, Favorites, and First Impressions. So let's start with some feedback and follow-up on our previous episode. I don't have much feedback.
I do.
Okay, go on.
I have learned that lots of people have very strong opinions about which Star Trek episodes to watch. I don't know that I want to continue trekking after our experience, but for those listeners who were newbies like us and are interested in continuing, I have been informed the next episodes to watch are The Trouble with Tribbles and The Tholian Web.
The Trouble with Tribbles I have heard everyone loves. Even though the Tribbles only appear in that one episode apparently, they become such a huge part of the Star Trek universe that you have to watch that. So I second that follow-up.
But everyone else loves The City and the Edge of Forever too. Can we trust them?
Oh, they do.
It is a popular one. It is always on the best of list. I find that interesting because it's not really tied into the general arc of Star Trek, but I don't know. It's a masterpiece of television filmmaking, I suppose.
I feel my blood pressure rising, like I feel the vein in my neck just pulsing, just thinking about it. So, in lieu of another rant, I will direct our listeners to our Star Trek episode where I spend about 5 hours talking about how much I dislike that episode.
I will say, it is, however, a masterpiece of the soft focus effect.
That is true.
See, I'll even push back on that because the Vaseline was just so thick.
It was very thick.
It wasn't even soft
Ultimate
focus.
thickness.
If you had said that it's a masterpiece in ultra soft focus, then I might have agreed with you.
It's got some major Vaseline thickness going on there.
Listeners, please send us feedback so we don't have to spend the next minisode arguing about Vaseline.
In lieu of those being the best episodes ever, I will make a couple of recommendations that I received when first selecting the episodes for episode 19. And those are, obviously, The Trouble with Tribbles was on the list. I also was told to watch the original series Mirror Mirror, where Spock meets evil Spock.
Oh, is it the one where he has a goatee?
He has a goatee and apparently inspired an evil Bender in Futurama. So that
Bender is the evil Bender.
But it's like an eviler Bender who has something, I don't know.
He's the good Bender with a goatee.
Fandoms colliding all over. And I also have a few recommendations for the other series, so if you're interested in watching The Next Generation, which is one of my favorites, I was told to watch The Inner Light, which was originally in our list of extra credit.
Is that the Four Lights one?
I don't know what that means!
Listeners, if anyone out there knows which episode is the Four Lights
I'm
one,
sure it's a thing. I have
please
no
let us
idea.
know.
I'm so sorry.
It's definitely a Next Generation thing.
I know it's a thing. It is a thing. And I don't know what it is. I was also told that Deep Space Nine in general was a very good show. I never ever watched that one, so a general recommendation for that one. And then in Voyager, the episode Timeless was recommended. Also, Endgame, which is the series finale. Obviously, that would be like the ultimate spoiler, but apparently one of the really good ones for that series. And Death Wish, which was recommended as one that considers like different elements of like what it would mean to be immortal or a god. So just a handful of recommendations for the different series.
Didn't you watch Voyager?
I did watch Voyager, yes.
And?
I love Voyager. It's one of my favorites. I kept trying to lure you two into watching Voyager, but you kept refusing.
You need to give me more time. I think maybe if you give me a Voyager episode first, before I had such a bad taste in my mouth from...
I had to make the connection to Galaxy Quest.
That is fair. And Voyager is on my list of things to watch eventually.
I think you would enjoy it. Lady Captains. I can see a lot of ties to ancillary justice.
That's a good way to sell me.
I have follow-up.
Go ahead.
I have a very exciting follow-up because something marvelous happened since our last minisode, and that's that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse won a very well-deserved Oscar.
It really did. I was very pleased. I did not watch the Oscars, but I heard the news.
Did you watch it, Ashley?
I haven't, but I did look online after it won, and I was so happy that they won because I know the importance of it, and I was just so happy that everyone online was so happy that it won. It was just like this great, big... I've never seen Twitter be so happy and cheerful and just so many heart emojis everywhere. So I was very happy for it just because it garnered such a great reaction from the people for its win.
We're so proud, even though we had nothing to do with it.
It's true.
We'll just share in the general feeling of winning.
Did you hear the acceptance speech by any chance?
No.
I did. I watched it the next day.
They said, quote, "When we hear that somebody's kid was watching the movie and turned to them and said, 'He looks like me,' or 'They speak Spanish like us,' we feel like we already won," end quote. I'm very glad they actually won the Oscar, but that's true too. There's a part towards the beginning of the movie where Miles Morales' mom, who is Puerto Riqueña, says, "Este nene me tiene loca," which is a sentence that I'm sure the three of us have heard a lot growing up.
I think with a different kind of inflection, though.
Well, it means this child is driving me crazy in Spanish.
Sometimes accompanied by a chancleta.
Oh, I never got the chancleta.
Oh, no, me neither.
Oh, you two weren't bad children.
As often as I've heard it in real life, which is a lot, I've never heard it in any of the thousands of movies that I've seen. So I'm so glad this movie exists for the reason they said in the acceptance speech. And congratulations again to everyone who helped bring it into existence. Please make many, many more. If you're interested in watching it and you haven't seen it yet, Ashley?
She looks away.
Spider-Verse is now available digitally, and you can purchase it on Blu-ray and DVD starting on March 19th, and we'll post links in the show notes so you can bring Miles into your home.
So now that we have discussed one of our mutual favorites, except for Ashley, who still has to catch up,
Also looks into this once again.
we're going to go on into our favorites for this episode, and this is technically a ploy, and you'll see why in a moment. So who are your favorite captain or captains in fictional media, whether literary, film, television, otherwise, whatever it is, and they do not have to be space captains particularly. So that is the obvious connection.
Is this an excuse for you to bring up Janeway?
Oh yes, it is. So I will start. This was definitely a ploy to bring up that lady captain, Captain Catherine Janeway of the USS Voyager, because neither of you followed through on your homework. Shame on you. Shame, shame.
Excuse me. It was extra credit.
It's extra credit, but it was expected to be done.
We already had an A in the class. We did not need it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, my type A teacher pet days are way, way behind me.
Anyhow, I think you should watch it just for Janeway particularly. I think you would both appreciate her manners. I will also add the ultimate captain, Captain America, because he's the cinnamon roll of the Marvel Universe and the only other Chris that matters. Those of you who have a Chris notwithstanding in your lives for the Bluestockings. And for the record, because I think it must be said, the first is Pine, because Gricel has a type. The third is Hemsworth, but only when he's a brunette. See previous notes about Gricel having a type.
See Ashley's face right now.
Pratt is the last one because he's the poor man's Han Solo. And also, new things have come out. Apparently, not a great person in general. Are there any others?
Question. Captain America with or without the beard?
Both.
Both, yes. Although I do appreciate a beardy a little bit more.
Depending on my mood. Depending what I want from my Captain America.
There you go.
Beard or
we have
non-beard.
the variety of a Captain America.
That's what's so great about him. It's just the
Exactly.
gift that keeps on giving.
It is.
Well, I can see on what standards we're judging the captains this time around. And
This is all subjective and totally visual.
And given the hullabaloo about Captain Kirk last time from certain quarters that I'm looking at right now.
Yes.
On that note, I would like to contribute Captain Ross Poldark from the 2015 television series
I
specifically.
appreciate and approve.
Ooh, I'm fanning myself over
We
here.
are both fanning
Yes.
ourselves.
On a functional level, though, I have to go with another lady captain who we already discussed, and that's Leela from Futurama. And we all agreed she's an all-around excellent spaceship captain.
Excellent captain. We love a lady captain.
You can hear us rave about her back in episode 18, Futurama. I will also contribute Faramir, Captain of Gondor, generally for being a good leader, a decent person, and more specifically for the look he gives Eowyn in the Houses of Healing as seen in the extended edition of The Return of the King.
Oh, yeah.
A good look.
I think he's a cinnamon roll of Lord of the Rings. He just
He
tries so
is.
hard.
He
And...
is.
We do like cinnamon rolls.
We do.
Okay, my favorite captain, to no one's surprise, I am sure, is Captain Malcolm Reynolds of Serenity from the Firefly TV series. He's not a cinnamon roll, I don't think.
Nope.
He's a little too...
Maybe a chocolate croissant.
No.
No, he's got to be something that he's not to everyone's taste, but if you love him, you love him. Like a love him or hate him
For
kind
me,
of
that's a
thing.
dulce de leche, which, like, I hate, but a lot of people love.
Turkish delight.
Turkish delight! Excellent!
Captain Mal Reynolds, the Turkish delight of the Captain fandom. He's fiercely loyal to his crew, he's very funny, and I think he looks great in pretty floral bonnets. And I'm also going to throw in a bonus captain, but because I had to go off script, this captain appears not on film or in literature, so we cannot judge him based on his aesthetics. He appears on a radio series. Captain Martin Creef of the BBC radio series Cabin Pressure is one of my favorite captains. I listen to this probably about every 6 months. It's a 4-part series about the misadventures of the 4-person crew of a one airplane charter outfit, MJN Air. The show is fantastic. It won a ton of awards. And if that wasn't enough, well, it's not going to sell you to, but listeners, if that wasn't enough for you, Captain Creef is voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch, who we all know, I think, is a delight.
Ashley also has a type, and that type is Benedict Cumberbatch.
Truth.
There you go.
Hashtag truth. For our next episode, we'll be entering the exciting worlds of giant robots and fearsome monsters. as we watch the 2013 science fiction / action-adventure film, Pacific Rim. Both B and I are huge fans of this film, which leaves Gricel as our newbie. Gricel, what do you know about the film? You should know at least a little, because we have discussed it a bit on the podcast.
I know, beside from the fact that you two love it, it's about kaiju, and it passes the Bechdel test.
No, it does not.
It does not pass the Bechdel test.
I feel that it does.
They had to make a whole new test because of how badly it does not pass the Bechdel-Wallace test, but the new test is to indicate that it does not serve its female character singular too poorly.
That's why it doesn't, because you do have, there's a whole feminist rant we can get into on there, and that you do have a strong, I think, female character, but she is the only one. So it doesn't pass the Bechdel test because there's literally no other female for her to speak to.
There is a minor character, the Russian one, but she might as well be non-existent.
I don't think she has any dialogue, yeah.
That is literally all I know.
I'm sure you'll be discussing the Makomoni test, Ashley.
Oh, yes. I'm very excited. And that's a very good start. I mean, that's really all you have to know about Pacific Rim is that there are kaiju and... Yeah, there are kaiju. Yeah.
And giant robots.
And giant robots.
Isn't it basically just a ripoff of Ultraman and Godzilla?
I don't think it's a ripoff. I think it's an homage to them. It's going to be great. For me. I don't know about you. But for B and I, it will be great.
For the two of you. Okay.
Episode 20, Pacific Rim, will be released on April 1st. No joke. In the meantime, you can find us at thebluestockingcircle.com and on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Pinterest, and pretty much everywhere at BlueSockCircle. That's Blue SOX Circle. Email us at thebluestockingcircle@gmail.com to join the conversation. We're also available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. So please rate, review, and subscribe to help us grow.
Cheers!
You can tell we're already cracking nervous for like 10 seconds from your voice.
Nope.